So Mike McCarthy is the hottest name right now in the Bears search. He interviewed yesterday, and we're trying to wrap our heads around what it would be. I mean, Packers fans would point at every Bears fan and laugh and say, "Oh, you're taking our trash now." But I guess they've already been laughing at Bears fans for a few decades. What do you think of Mike McCarthy as a leader in terms of a football team, Coach?
Well, I'm on board with Mike McCarthy coming in. I hope he's the guy. I really do. I think he checks all the boxes from the standpoint that, one, you're looking for a head coach. Let me tell you, the Dallas Cowboys they're not a very talented team. And Parsons missed so many games, and Dak missed how many games, and to even sign Zeke back, God bless him. I mean, think about it, guys. I mean, with the teams that the Bears were playing as compared to and playing the Cowboys with their talent, Mike, every week those guys lined up and they played their tails off. He'll get guys to play. There's no doubt in my mind about that. He's got a tough. He doesn't look like a tough guy, but he's a tough guy. His dad owned a bar in Glenview
Deerfield?
No. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Glenfield, I think, was the name of the town. There's a little borough right out in the city of Pittsburgh, tough mill town, in the bar right there down near the south side. And so Mike's a tough guy at heart. I think he would bring in a good staff. He's got the quarterback communication stuff that you're looking for with Caleb. He's got the rings on his finger to back it up. So I like him. I do like him. I think there's less of a chance with him than maybe, if you don't get the Ben Johnson guy, which I don't think that's happening. I think that Brady's going to just roll out the red carpet and set the stage for him, fired his GM, let him bring who he wants, do what he wants. And I think Mike McCarthy is so damn happy to get out of Dallas that he's not going to put up any resistance to Ryan Poles and the personnel decisions. I mean, trust me, whatever he has responsibility-wise with the Bears will be a hell of a lot more than what he had at Dallas with Jerry. Just leave it at that. So I don't think that is going to be an issue. And he's one of those guys that everybody likes, and you can get along with him, and he'll work with you. So I got no problem with Mike McCarthy. I think it fell right in the Bears' lap. I really do.
Wow, there's a lot there with Dave Wannstedt, trying to wrap my head around all of that, and we'll ask some follow-up questions, and that's interesting. Before we get back to McCarthy, you think Ben Johnson's going to Vegas? You think he's locked and loaded, huh? Because So why? Just he doesn't have a quarterback out there. Got to go against some tough coaches and Sean Payton and Andy Reid and Jim Harbaugh out in that division. But why Vegas? Why do you think that's going to happen?
I don't know. Would you rather go against? I mean, you're looking at Dan Campbell. You're looking at Matt LaFleur. I mean, both of those divisions are two of the toughest ones. So I think that's a non-factor. The quarterback is an issue. I mean, now he's got to feel in his mind that some way, somehow, that they are going to get a quarterback. But I think as far as responsibility and having his wingman, the personnel guy, whoever he is, to pick the players that he wants, I think that will override what the Bears have to offer. I really do. I think he'd be a great hire. I'd be excited if he was the guy. But I think that the Brady influence, along with the general manager, I think that gives them a little bit of an edge over coming here under our circumstances.
Coach, do you think the Bears should wait so that they can talk to Johnson face to face, or is it more valuable if they think that McCarthy's the guy to go ahead and hire McCarthy and get started with what his program's going to be?
Well, that's a good question. Have they Zoomed with Ben Johnson?
Yes. Well, they did a virtual one with him, but they can't talk to him in person until the Lions are eliminated.
Yeah, I know enough. I would know enough already that if Mike says, I want to come under the contract's right and the responsibility and how it's structured, and he's still my number one guy, I would pull the trigger. I would not wait and get shut out. I really wouldn't.
So yeah, so you have some concerns with maybe him taking that Saints job too.
Oh, I know for a fact. I talked to a guy today. He's one of 3 finalists
For the Saints job?
Yep.
Who are the other ones? Can you tell us?
Well, I guess I'm not supposed to.
Well,
sorry.
All right. Does one of their names rhyme with Aaron Glenn?
No. I don't think he's in on the Saints job.
Wow.
I think he ends up with the Jets.
Yeah.
If we went to 4 guys, Aaron would be one of them.
Wow.
But I think that they. I think they're kind of looking offense if they could.
Gotcha. So that's interesting. So
and then they got the guy on the staff that they like. They do like Darren Rizzi a lot. I know that.
Mm-hmm.
Special teams coach, who was the temporary coach.
What do you think of Aaron Glenn as a prospect?
I love him. There's not Aaron. I remember when I went down and worked Aaron out at Texas A&M. Everything about him is winner, and I was curious to see how he would adjust. I mean, no one's had more deep starters hurt than he has. What's he had? 7, 8 starters hurt on defense, and he comes up with schemes. And I watch real close when guys pressure and when they don't pressure, and the disguise that's going with their pressure. And does he have a veteran group? Oh, he's playing with a bunch of young guys. I mean, this Matt Campbell, the Branch, the safety. I mean, they got a drafted a corner in the first round this year. He's playing with a lot of young players on that defense too. I think he's doing an outstanding job.
Boy, it's just trying to wrap my head around all this stuff. This is interesting stuff from Dave Wannstedt here on the Spiegel and Holmes Show. Have your feelings about McCarthy evolved at all, Coach? Like over the last couple weeks, as we hear that he's available, or he might not be available, then he is available. Like as you talk to people, and I know you do. Like I wondered if your thoughts about him as a candidate have evolved a little bit.
Well, Jerry wanted to pick the staff, right? Jerry wanted to have a major influence, which he's done since he's been there, on who Kellen Moore is going to stay. This guy's going to stay. Jason Witten is on the staff. And Mike felt good about other options that he said, no, if I don't have my own staff, I'm leaving. I was told that was the deal breaker, that Jerry wanted to be able to pick assistants, kind of almost assistants in waiting. I have no idea what Jerry offered him, if he offered him anything, whatever. But, that whole negotiations were going on. But, Mike McCarthy, if he had Derrick Henry this year, they could still be playing.
Do you think that Jerry declined him getting the Bears interview like out of spite, or were they actually trying to come to an agreement?
They were trying to come to an agreement. It wasn't out of spite, no.
Okay.
So they were trying to come to agreement. Like I'm trying to figure out what to make of McCarthy's time down there, Coach. It's like he won 12 games three years in a row, but they got embarrassed in the playoffs a couple of times, and everything fell apart this year. You're saying this year the roster was bad, but overall, I mean, do you look at what he did down there as a success?
Yeah, I think he's one of the winningest coaches in the league over the last 4 years. Yes, he had a successful run at the Cowboys. Under real tough situations now, guys. I mean, you got to be there to live it with Jerry now. I mean, who's playing and how much guys are playing, and I remember Chan Gailey telling me that he ran a quarterback sneak with Troy Aikman, and Jerry told him after the game, "You don't ever call that play again." And stuff like that. I mean, that's that. So Mike McCarthy will be if he ends up with the Bears, I think he comes in here with a lot of energy, and he can be his own guy. And he understands the running game. I talked about that. I mean, and when he was at Green Bay, obviously with Aaron Jones, I mean, they ran the ball with Aaron Rodgers. So. I don't know. Sometimes you can overthink this thing, in my opinion. Now, that's just the way I've done things. I see what I'm looking for. I know enough people that have worked with them. Mm-hmm. You won't find anybody that's saying bad stuff about him. Guy's got a great reputation. He's clean. Drinks Iron City Beer.
There it is.
Hey, don't bring up Mango, or the guy
Mango.
The guy won't come anywhere near this Bears team.
Mango? The mango is the deal breaker for sure. So Coach,
don't bring that up.
No, we wouldn't dare. We wouldn't dare, Coach.
Coach, let's say that the Bears call McCarthy's bluff and say, we're going to wait. And he ends up taking the Saints job, and Ben Johnson goes and takes the Raiders job. Who would be next on your list that they should hire?
Wow. Oh, boy. You know what? I'm one of those guys that I want to see more than 1 year of somebody doing something to say that I'm going to give him the keys to the car. So I don't want a guy that's on a learner's permit as much as I can. I want an experienced driver. I would have a long talk with Cliff Kingsbury. I really would. Arthur Smith is getting a lot of action. Guys, and I brought up two guys that have been head coaches and two guys that are quarterback guys. And I know that Caleb would get better under both of those guys. Caleb could get better under a lot of guys. Liam Cohen, there's a lot of good offensive guys out there. Bobby Slowick, but I need to see more. I need to see these guys, as experienced coordinators over the years to be able to evaluate them, how they handle them. I mean, Liam Cohen, I was disappointed. The end of that darn Tampa Bay game, the snap count, that should never happen. There's a couple things that happened in that game that I would that makes me nervous. That's inexperience from my point.
Man, so those are offensive guys. You think that, I mean, that would be the counter after Eberflus and now with the young quarterback, the idea of having an offensive guy as opposed to possibly a defense. You think they're leaning that way as a principle?
I do. And the only defensive guy that I would be excited about would be probably Aaron Glenn. Mm-hmm. Just because I think that he can take control of things. You're going to get the leadership from him that you want to. And now it's a matter of staff and who you get on offense and who's working with Caleb and you're going through all that stuff, which is critical to this franchise moving forward, So that would be probably my pecking order. I'd want to talk to those two guys and just see if there was something there.
It's interesting too because Caleb kind of mentioned Cliff Kingsbury in talking with the St. Brown brothers, and it's like I wonder when it comes to taking the input from the quarterback, how would you deal with that? Like what would you ask Caleb and what would you act on from what Caleb told you?
I don't know. I don't know if I'd get him involved at all, except that once I got it zeroed in and this was the guy we were going to hire, I would call him in and say, hey, listen, he's our guy because this is what he's going to do for you. But I wouldn't have any player involved in the hiring process of this. I really wouldn't.
So sorry, go ahead, Coach.
No, it's just how I would do it. I don't know, I would let him know what's going. If he called me up and said, who we looking at, I would tell him that, and then once we got zeroed in and said, hey, listen, we're going to hire this Ben Johnson, and this is what he's going to do for you. You were the conversation before we hired anybody, and I feel good that this guy's going to get it done for you. I mean, I could talk to Caleb and convince him, that whoever we hired is going to be in his best interest at the end of the day.
You got any mutuals with Todd Monken? What do you think about him as an offensive guy and a candidate?
You know what? That's an interesting. Thank you for bringing his name up. I thought there's a lot of people throwing his name out as a guy that's being overlooked that should not be. And he was a head coach in college, so he stood up in front of the group. He's done that a little bit. So yes, definitely, he's a guy I'd be excited about talking to, and I know the Bears are going to for sure. Absolutely.
All right. So Dave Wannstedt gave us the gut feeling of McCarthy here, Ben Johnson in Vegas. And Aaron Glenn to the Jets. You have any gut feelings on Jacksonville? Who's going to get the Jacksonville job, Coach?
No.
Okay. New Orleans. Any gut feeling on the New Orleans job if it's not McCarthy?
I think Brady might be the guy.
Think Joe Brady down there in New Orleans.
Joe Brady could be the guy there because he's been there. He's got a history there. The only issue with Brady was that he did not, at the end, that thing with him and Sean Payton went sideways. So I don't know how much they're listening to Sean Payton. If Sean Payton's got some influence in New Orleans, that could hurt Brady.
Did you ever have?
And then Aaron Glenn becomes a major player, I think, in New Orleans.